Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Monday for today topics about the future of property industry. Just a little introduction first. I am Mei Tan. I'm founder of Innovatif Plus, and also Innovatif Plus is a platform for next generation of family business to look into different kind of solutions for our families and as well as also investment. So we are very honored to working with FIABCI Asia Pacific to organize today's event to talk about the future of property. And before we start, just few of the housekeeping rules is that first, if you are not a speaker and while the speaker are doing their sharing, appreciate that if you mute your mic so that we can focus and also have concentration on the speakers themselves. And so later on, the other parts we will have a Q&A, and then you're welcome to type your question at the chat here, or you also, if you want to raise hand, you can do the reaction here, and then you can speak out your question as well. So without further ado, first we would like to invite our Rasmin from Indonesia to share a bit more about what is FIABCI as well as the Proptech society as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, May. Thank you. Good day, everyone. I see a lot of friends from a lot of different regions, Asian. I see my friend from Georgia as well. Kate, how are you? FIABCI is the International Race Federation. It's a federation itself. It's established in Paris, 1951. We are the worldwide organizations that connect you to the world. And one thing good is that we are comprising of various kind of property stakeholders. So if you are developers, agents, consultant, lawyers, valuer, bankers, even you are Proptech player, you are welcome to join FIABCI because this is a very good platform to sharing knowledge, experience, and also provide international connections. So we have more than 72 chapters and rep in the world. And also one thing good is we have a special status to the UN, especially UN Habitat and EcoSoc. So we work very closely with the UN. Every year we have to attend this high-level political meeting in New York, held by UN New York. So this is us. That's why we try to after this pandemic we realized that we have to come back to the normal, but it's a new normal. So now we just realized that this pandemic has surprisingly driven this kind of digitalizations faster than we expect. So what's going on for the next 2 or 3 years? How to practice your real estate remotely and also efficient. That's why you need Proptech. So everything must go online because we are not allowed to see each other frequently anymore. So even you are selling, you must go online. Also, you must advertise online. How to check your building online. How to do your submissions to the bank online, and how to sign your document to e-document, and everything must go online now. And also comply to the hygiene and also health this standard in this global health crisis, because we don't know that when will this coronavirus will end, because I think there will a lot of experts say that it will be a second wave, third wave, and my opinion is that we have to be coexist with the corona. So we cannot kill him, but we have to. If you cannot kill the wolf, you must think how to dance with the wolf. If you cannot kill a shark, you must kill a shark. You must how to swim with the shark. That's my opinion. So that's why we present our good speaker from here. We have Leo Lu from Hong Kong. He's a founder of Asia Proptech. This is one of the Proptech platform in Asia that very active and provide a lot of speakers, knowledge about the Proptech, also fintech. We have Sato-san. Daigo Sato-san is from Japan. He's one of the director of the Proptech Japan, and also one of the associate in the digital-based company. which is venture capital for Proptech. We also have Joshua from MHub from Malaysia. He's more on fintech side. Is it something like payment gateway, something like that? Yeah. Okay, May, we can start. We can start with, I think we must start with Hong Kong first. Leo, are you able to speak some word first, or you prefer?
Or because I'm still taking out some.
Okay, then we let maybe Japan first. Taro-san.
Okay.
Yeah, the time is yours. Yeah.
Sure. So let me share my slides. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me for this discussion. So as Mr. Lawin Rasmin has introduced me, I'm an associate of Digital-Based Capital, which is the first Proptech VC firm in Japan. And also I work as operations director at Proptech Japan, which is the largest startup community, Proptech startup community in Japan. And let me just explain about my career for just a little bit and explain about my company. And let me share about the Japanese situation due to COVID-19 right now, right? So yeah, I started my career at Silicon Valley, and then I joined PwC in Japan. And then after that, so in the PwC, I was working on M&A. And right now I'm on working at Digital-Based Capital, which is the first Proptech VC in Japan. So first of all, let me share about our company's mission. It's to enrich people's lives through digitalization of regulated industries. And as a VC, we've invested. So actually, we're a very new VC. We founded last year, but we've already invested in about 10 companies. So these are the companies that we've invested. And also, so we organized, we run a community, the largest the Proptech community in Japan, which is called Proptech Japan, right? So we have over 1,100 people from both startups and enterprise joining this community, and we organize events, like meetup events, once or twice a month. So let me start with my slides from now. So this is the Proptech market overview in Japan. So right now, Japanese Proptech and contact startups are very increasing very much. So this is the companies as of March 19, but the numbers increasing very much between this year and now. And so especially the services rising due to COVID-19 is we have mainly two keywords, right? One's not face-to-face. The other is AR, VR. So the first one, not face-to-face, is the service which can serve your clients through online. So for example, this company Itanji, they're serving they have service called Oheya Go. Oheya means a room in Japanese, right? So the Oheya Go, it's a platform for not directly getting the keys. So the renters, they don't have to go directly to the real estate companies and ask for keys to see inside the room. They just access online platform, they do the reservation, and they get the key. And then they just go into the room and see the room and then return the key, right? It's like a self-service room watching service. And also, so for the AR VR, one of the major service right now is FIATA. So this is a virtual, it's like a virtual, like how can I say, yeah, room viewing. So if you use this technology, like you can see the room. Yeah, so yeah, virtual tour, right? That's the word. So Rico is actually serving this service, and from like this point of view, we can tell that both startups and enterprise are working very hard for Proptech, and their service is pretty much recognized by people, used by people in Japan. So next, I'll go to COVID-19 impact to real estate market in Japan. So there are three impacts. So one's office, second is retail store, and third hotel. So first, hotel office, like cancellation of the rental agreement is occurring very much. So for startups, the financing environment went very bad, right, due to COVID-19. So before COVID-19, the environment, the financing environment was very good. So like the power balance between between the VC and startups, like startups was a bit higher. So they were easily able to get the capital from the VCs or angel investors. However, due to COVID-19, the situation, the environment changed. So their financing environment goes bad, and so especially for the high burn rate companies, which which spends a lot of money like every month, those companies they had to decide to move to the like cheap rent office, right? And for second point, for enterprises, they realize like remote is possible. So especially in Japan, like face-to-face relationship was very important. And especially for enterprise people, they were kind of like avoid, and they could not use those like video conferencing tools such as Zoom, which we're using right now, due to like the security issues or like client relationship issues, right? So and right now they're like kind of forced to use these kind of services, and now they realize, okay, remote work is possible, and no one gets mad about it. So the satellites, so like enterprises, they're right now like having very much like expensive, fancy offices in middle of Tokyo, but so many people are living in suburb area like near Tokyo, and coming to Tokyo, like spending an hour in the pretty much packed train, right? And so the enterprise might start to like rent satellite offices or co-working spaces in suburb area, right? This might be a trend. So yeah, maybe maybe I should go a little faster, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's okay. Just
okay.
We love to see pictures. Okay.
Sure. Right. So second is the retail store, right? Closing stores, suspension of business, they're occurring everywhere, especially in food and beverage stores, so restaurants. the stores closing. They're more relying on delivery services. So like the demand for Uber Eats or other online delivery services are increasing rapidly. And then, so that's why like crowd kitchen or ghost kitchen is increasing very much. It's like for people who never heard of like either crowd kitchen or ghost kitchen, there are services which have like a virtual brands like produced without brick and mortar location. So the facilities are made solely for producing like virtual brands, right? So they have like same staff, same facility, but different menu. Like one virtual shop has like Japanese menu, one virtual shop had Chinese menu, and the other had like Italian. But they're all made in the same facility. So this is kind of a service called ghost kitchen or virtual kitchen. Okay, so the third, is a hotel. This is very obvious. So
I was there last month.
Oh, really?
It's a 5-star. It's a 5-star, highly recommended. This cabin.
Okay. I see. Well, yeah. So I'm very happy that you already know about First Cabin.
Even them, they have a spa room. It's surprising you.
Yes. So they went bankrupt like 2-3 days ago.
Really?
Yes. And
so they closed temporarily?
They're closed, right?
Okay.
So they were running for people who might not know about First Cabin, they were running a capsule hotel business, which is like a picture on the left side. So they provided room picture. They had like 26 places all over Japan, and due to the COVID-19, the occupancy rate became lower than like 20%, and from March, right, from last month. Then they had to declare bankruptcy 2 days ago. So yeah, this is very big impact for hotel. But due to this, so probably like same thing happens for many of the hotel services or companies, right? And however, so it was said that the demand, the number of hotel rooms will be in shortage during the Olympic period, right? But
Salusan, before I forget, I want to ask what kind of this support from governments does your government doing something for this to help this kind of businessmen survive? Because
okay, so the government actually they haven't declared about the business support for real estate industry yet, but they've declared the support for like all the people in Japan, about 10,000 USD. They're gonna give 10,000 USD for all the people in Japan
per person.
Not for the business. They're they're creating the scheme for that right now.
Is there any moratorium, something like in a mortgage, like something that you can delay the payment, something like that?
Yes, they're discussing it, but because of course you guys already know, like the owners of the apartments, they refuse that, right? So in Japan, one of the politicians, he was trying to propose the like similar like port, but due to the owner's refusal, like he had to like move down. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So in May and Joshua, you are still lucky because in Malaysia, automatically the governments give them 12 months of moratorium, so they don't have to pay anything for this 6 to 12 months.
6 months. Yeah.
So Sato-san, you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
And then we continue to Joshua. Joshua, your time.
Just
All
a
right,
quick
thank you.
one. Because some people asking question, so we will answer all the question later on. Just let all the presenter finish their sharing first and answer the question later. Okay, but any question, feel free to put on the chat. Thanks. Okay, go ahead, Joshua.
Okay. Hi. Thanks, Pak Rusmin, for the introduction. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joshua, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer as well as a co-founder of MHub. We are a fast-growing Proptech company based out of Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. So bringing quickly to a certain context to the reason of our webinar this afternoon. So again, I'm just bringing to you some headlines from Malaysia here. So the first one on the top left just came yesterday evening, where our Prime Minister actually said that COVID-19 has accelerated adoption of digital culture. Because in Malaysia, even from our government institution, the tech adoption is pretty much hovering around the region of 30 to 40%. And as a result, the government has finally realized that a lot of the government institutions are unable to operate smoothly in view of whatever has happened, right? So this has resulted in a greater push to the need to adopt technology. And we have seen some examples here about how even the courts in Malaysia have allowed for live streaming of the proceeding for certain civil cases, which was never the case historically before this. We have seen that our Security Commission has issued guidance on virtual annual general meeting so that businesses can still proceed with their meetings. And of course, lastly, even for our night markets, we are looking and seeing how different marketplaces are actually going online in order to enable all the street vendors to still have some form of business continuity. So in Malaysia, our lockdown is actually termed as MCO, Movement Control Order. And we are actually entering our 5th week of Movement Control Order. We actually started on the 18th of March, 2020. So again, for us in MHub, we also like to take this from a positive vibe, and we call it MHub Can Online, right? We have been talking and we have been hearing a lot about new normal. So what exactly is new normal? And and I think what is even more important for us to ponder is, what if the new normal eventually becomes the expected norm, right? Because when it becomes normal, it's usual, typical, or expected state of condition. So for us in MHub, in where we are doing, which I'll talk about a bit more later, we have been aggressively educating our community of users that largely consists of property developers from around Malaysia in terms of how they can step up in terms of their digital adoption, all right? And we have been doing it by giving them solutions by launching a showroom for buyer, where buyers can actually do a self-service in terms of the property reservation process. We have been conducting live webinars, and we have done 3 sessions so far to actually educate our different community of users in terms of what they can and consider doing, right, to adapt to this change. And lastly, we also have rolled out a campaign on lead retargeting, where we are seeing how people can do more with the current database that they existingly have. And this applies to both developers as well as property agents, agencies. So again, the world is changing rapidly due to COVID-19. And we are seeing a lot of digital disruptions. Industries are being reimagined. And I think what I really need to drive home the point to all the audience here this afternoon is the fact that, we cannot deny that ultimately the market will always win, right? And here in MHub, we are focusing on PropTech and because we are focusing on the transaction element of property, therefore mortgage tech or fintech becomes a very crucial component as well. So consumer behavior change, right? You have heard of all these terms of late: social distancing, stay at home. Online shopping has been the case before this, but it has gone even so much more now, right? Online delivery, and of course, what is trending now is work from home. So isn't it interesting that COVID-19 supercharged digitalization pace on a global proportion faster than any CEO, CIO involved in digital transformation? Think about it. So again, just to share with you, this was a survey conducted by online marketplaces. They have gone around to survey more than 100 captains of industry in the property industry. And almost 70% believe that the industry will be permanently changed. And the industry will be permanently changed because we are beginning to see a shift in behavior, right? So a lot of info searching we foresee, and first touchpoint engagement will be digital, remote, and online more than ever before, right? So previously, maybe a person might have to visit a gallery viewing 3 or 4 times before making a decision. Right now, maybe even if there was any necessary physical contact, it would have been just the last mile of the transaction process, right? And I think ultimately, what we are seeing here is, of course, in the midterm, right, short to midterm, we might see some of these property sellers, right, whether it's developers or people who are selling in the secondary market, needing to actually offload some of their stocks, right? And we might see some minor flattening of the pricing in the near term, right? And of course, I would like to also introduce this term, SPA, SPA, or rather in Malaysia, traditionally SPA is termed as Sales and Purchase Agreement, but I'm here to introduce a new acronym for SPA as well, because I think as business owners or different people in different executive positions in your respective organizations, I think it's important for us to actually know these three terms, right? SPA, which is stabilize, prepare, and accelerate, because because of COVID-19, I think majority of businesses are affected, right? And it's so important for us to take stock and stabilize, and know what we currently our current standing is, and again be prepared. I think that's where it's the most important part. Develop a deep understanding of the future industry so that you can position yourself to take advantage when the business actually picks up, right? And finally, it's always about the speed to the market and time to the market, so that when it's appropriate, you are able to already execute what you have planned out. So what can we do about it then, right? I think for all of you here, in whatever organization you are in, I think it's important for you to have a clear digitalization roadmap, if you can agree that this is what the market will trend into, right? Secondly, talk to a reliable tech ecosystem partner, not a typical IT vendor, because a tech ecosystem partner adds value to your organization. A typical vendor will ask you what you are after, and they will actually follow your request and your spec, all right? Tech ecosystem partner will tell you what they see in the market and how they can add value to your business.
We have Innovatif here. May can help.
Sorry?
We have Innovatif Plus here. May can help. Innovatif Plus is the system what?
Yes. That's right. Innovatif Plus is a platform that you can most certainly engage with to actually have access to a big variety of different tech companies that are part of an ecosystem. Yes.
Because you need a lot of resources, not only one. Yeah.
Correct. So of course, lastly, be willing to learn and relearn new skills, and ultimately we just have to start doing and have less talking. So, go quickly into mHub. Like I said, we are a Proptech company. Our business is solely focusing on digitalization of real estate transaction, because in a property sale, you have the developer, you have the agent, you have the banker, you have the lawyer. And if everybody don't talk to each other, and that is where we find that one whole transaction cycle can take a very long time, right? So we set out to actually have a seamless platform to link everyone together. And to date, we have facilitated more than 20,000 property transactions across 70 developers from all over Malaysia. So this is a little bit about our overview of sales, right? From the typical digital aspect of things to how you can have a typical booking system for agents and developers to log in. We also have a marketplace where developers can look for more new sales channel. And finally, the most recently that we launched is where buyers can actually do a self-service to make reservation, unit selection, and payment guided by the developer staff, but remotely, all right? So this is where I was talking about. We call it showroom for buyers. Everything is done remotely and digitally. And then we also roll out this thing, which is a buyer app. And the sole purpose of this buyer app is where once a buyer have decided on a unit, they are invited to download this app where they are able to confirm what they have booked, right? And then be kept on the loop, in terms of their loan application, because we do have already integrated that ability to KYC the customer so that they are able to do an upfront credit check on their debt service ratio, or rather their serviceability by using facial recognition on their mobile phone, right? So this is an industry first that we are rolling out in Malaysia, where buyer can actually do self-check on their mobile phone, and then banks can actually come in and give an upfront, approval in principle to the customers.
Joshua, can you serve to the previous page, the
Yep.
process, the previous one?
Yep. This one or this one?
No. Yeah, this one. So we just
All right.
browse, take a look, register, talk to the sales consultant, experience the tour, make a unit selection, and book and pay. That's easy, right?
Yes.
That's everything's on our fingertip, is it? Something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So the whole idea here is because property has historically been a very face-to-face kind of interaction, because people say that it's a high-value item, long-term commitment. But now, with technology like Zoom, do we actually? Well, I'm actually we are very far apart, but I'm still seeing you face-to-face, just that we are meeting virtually. So,
okay. One question, but important for all the others I present of them. How do a surveyor do their job? Because at the end, bank will ask someone to survey your property. So how to do that?
I think if you're talking about a surveyor, in terms of the valuation, right?
Yes.
So to
Valuer,
answer, so in that sense, right, I think it's important for the different countries to have a proper data record of all recent transactions, to have a reliable proxy pricing to determine whether or not if there's a need for the actual surveying work to be done if it happens to be a strata unit within a condominium block. So again, the surveying procedure is very much dependent on the bank's policy. And unfortunately, if you're talking about the bank policy, there's little that a Proptech can do unless we can actually show them the number crunch data to provide them reliability. So again, to also just fill you in Malaysia, we have certain news outlets, and as well as certain companies that are actually offering some sort of proxy pricing, where the valuers or surveyors would actually look at it, and then they will see whether or not to accept it and then pass it to the bank, rather than doing physical check.
I think we must go this direction. So we must provide Proptech a channel for valuer to do their job virtually, maybe.
Yes.
Only certified valuer, maybe, in the Proptech.
If you don't mind, I can add some points on this, because I'm a chartered surveyor. I'm also working on my own Proptech solution from the what we call automated valuation model, AVM.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of we are still developing that, and I believe that in Asia, I think we are still in the under the development stage. But as I know, because there are increasing number of mortgage banks, they are trying to recognize the AVM generated result. So it's a trend, I can say, but I agree with Yonsha that we need a lot of data, in order to make it done.
So I'm not sure about other countries, but the challenge in Malaysia is that very often, by the time the land office issues the property data record, it's already 3 to 6 months old. You see, so we still have this legacy issue, and
I think there's still many hurdles. The regulators studying about the.
But definitely, I don't deny that is definitely the way to go, and for that to work, both the Proptech companies as well as the authorities and the banks, we all have to work hand in hand to actually drive this change, which is for the betterment of the industry long term.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, in Hong Kong, for example, I think in the recent 2 to 3 months, the banks are very nervous about, they need to whether they need to recall the loan, especially for those commercial properties. So I think for the trend, I agree with you that regulators, the petitioners, all of us need to work together in order to provide a more agile solutions for the mortgage banks, especially during the difficult time. Because they need to review the valuations from time to time. Even.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. I'll just quickly end here my take-home points for the audience this afternoon in the webinar. So I think what is important is this is really not a time to just sit and watch. All right, because the cold hard fact is that not all businesses will survive the effect of COVID-19. And it's important for you to see how you can actually adapt to this change, right? And to do that means you have to be open to embrace change and accept that there is a new normal, right? The market, remember, the market always wins. And because, a lot of countries are in lockdown for an extended period of time. And what we know is that a lot of new habits are acquired when it's repetitively done over a period of 10 weeks, right? So when you are actually, in a lockdown environment for, 1.5 months to 2 months, then there is a high tendency that people will develop new habits, right? And again, the good news is because this is not like an actual war where buildings are destroyed or damaged, right? Infrastructure is damaged. It's about people all staying at home. So we do believe, I do believe that the recovery will also be fast, right? So I look at it where this is more like a pause moment for the economy, but people who are able to withstand will be able to ride on the rebound as well, right? Doesn't matter whether it's a U shape or a V shape or a thick shape, but there will be a rebound. And of course, from a Malaysian perspective, we do foresee, a big upside in our growth 2021 because this year will be slow. Yeah. That's all from me. If anything, I want to conclude with the final statement by Rupert Murdoch, right? That media tycoon, the world is changing very fast. Big will not beat the small anymore. It will be the fast beating the slow. And that is where technology and Proptech specifically can play a part. Thank you.
Yeah, we should run as fast as this corona pandemic also outbreak. So we are running with corona pandemic. Okay. So the last one, Leo, the time is yours.
Sorry about. Let me share my screen first.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Apologies because I haven't prepared the slides dedicated to this section. I will use some old slides if you don't mind, but I won't show them all because I suppose we need to make our discussion more interactive. So Asia Proptech probably most of you know about us because we are probably the first Proptech dedicated community found in Asia Pacific region. From the past few years, we put a lot of effort in connecting the global Proptech players, especially in the first 1 to 2 years. We talked to many Proptech groups or associations or players in Europe and in North America. And I see in the recent 1 to 2 years, I think the trend of Proptech is shifting back to Asia Pacific region. Especially in the recent the last year, I think we have received a lot of inquiries from real estate companies, especially those developers in China, in Hong Kong, quite embracing innovation. Especially, I think, just like today's topic, I think during the COVID-19 situation, they increased their awareness to how to make use of innovation to boost up their property investments values. Because in the past, Hong Kong is a very active property market is very, we have frequent transactions. So they put lesser effort in looking at innovation in the past. And now they are finding some solutions out to how to make a better use of their properties. So, but the situation is, you can see this kind of figures. I think in before 2018, I think the investment for Proptech in Asia Pacific region is still attract a lot of investment, all of the total amount in the world. It accounted for over 60% of the Proptech investments that contribute to the Asia Pacific region. I think one of the reasons is China market is very big. So you can see in the past, there were top 5 well-funded Proptech companies actually coming from China. But I can say maybe most of them are still focusing on the, what we call Proptech 1.0 solution. But I think in the coming years, we should look into more on the more higher or deeper level of technologies applications, just like blockchain, just like AI, just like data analytics as well. So that's the trend. But the situation is in Asia, we still think these 3 parties are quite fragmented. That means the startups are still working very hard on their solutions, but at the same time, still finding difficulties in retaining investors. And on the other hand, the corporates are still looking hard for good investments as well. I'm not sure whether it happens in Japan. Maybe Mr. Sato can share more about investors' point of view. But in recent 1 to 2 years, I think corporates, the investors, especially from China, from Hong Kong, they are still finding difficulties in scouting around for good investments. I don't know whether it's because we don't group them as Proptech, because somehow, for mortgage tech, for example, they treated themselves as a fintech solution. So that means somehow it's under the radar to the investors of Proptech. So it's good for us to get together, to give a very good definition of Proptech, put all of them under the umbrella of Proptech, such that the investors, the investing companies, also the startups can find their way out to match each other. So this is what we are doing now. We focus more on the co-creation concept. Somehow, especially myself, I observed that the Proptech startups, on one hand, I think most of them I know, they're facing a bottleneck situation. Although maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they were very excited about saying, wow, how blockchain can change the real estate landscape, but somehow I don't think most of them can become successful. So they need to work together. And at the same time, what real estate companies also tell me, they are actually looking for a total solution. That means they want to combine, or they want to, they are happy to see, say, an AI company working with blockchain company, working with a mixed reality company as an example, in order to streamline, for example, the property management process, or the property sale process. So they are not looking into only a single solution. So I think, personally, I think the trend should be more on the co-creation. So that's why Asia Proptech is working hard in Guangzhou, in China. I'm also working hard with some of my Malaysian buddies, maybe some of you are here in the room, work out the co-creation map concept. And to make more time for us to have a more interactive discussion, I just want to add one point about what Proptech will do, especially after the coronavirus situation. I strongly believe that Proptech is something to redefine real estate. Just like what we discussed before, I think real estate should be more responsive, or we don't, the way we treat real estate will be different after this kind of situation. In the past, we simply treat real estate as physical space that can accommodate the people to live, to work, as an industrial use. We basically define real estate in a very separate way under the brick and mortar situation. But personally, I think in the near future, we will try to mix the work, live, play together, maybe make them happen in a single brick and mortar physical space. So that means I think what we treat real estate should be more like this sentence. Say Proptech are the applications that can enhance or can help activities of people that happen in brick and mortar. But what will actually change the landscape of real estate, I think, is something like the Android system for mobile phone. But imagine that if we have the Android system for real estate, I think it would be a good platform for different PropTech applications work together to turn real estate. Actually, I think this is my point of view. Just like in the past, what we judge the value or the usage value of properties, just how much rent you like to pay for. But I think in the near future, PropTech are the applications to make real estate as a device or as a physical space to generate data. So how much data can generate, I think it matters. It can also change the valuation or the usage of real estate. So especially you can imagine, say, after the COVID-19, maybe you try to make use of, for example, rooftop properties. Because in the past, I think people will stay indoor, but now because of the lockdown situation, they prefer having the fresh air or making use of the technology, for example, the drone delivery to get the products, to get the goods they ordered online. So rooftop, for example, is a very good example that can be further explored its value, especially during the coronavirus situation. And I think it should go with the technologies as well. For example, we talk about a drone taxi, for example, but the technology is still not ready now. But how about 2 years later? How about 3 years later? If that's ready, maybe it will definitely change the rooftop usage. So I think technology is still an enabler that further enable the real estate usage. And as a real estate guy, or as developer, as real estate companies, I think we need to think more about how to make real estate more responsive. Yeah, that's my view on the situation now. Yeah, I hope we can work together to make it better. Maybe we can discuss it further.
May, can we go to a Q&A?
Yeah, maybe can, Leo, can you unshare your screen? Right, we do have a question just now for, let me see. For Daigo.
Yep.
The question about, just now you share about the ghost kitchen. So someone is asking, does those kitchens need to have license to prepare and sell food?
Yes, they do need license, like the normal food and beverage preparation license.
And then another question is asking, because you were showing, the capsule hotel. So, do you think that because they then went bankrupt right now, so do you think that this will be the fate similar to OYO and Airbnb operators?
Right. This is a very good and hard question to answer. So, Oyo, for Oyo, so when SoftBank decided to, the WeWork, right? So when they are preparing for IPO, they like people realize like how their operations bad and like how their like returns are like very low, and SoftBank had to like help them. And at the same time, Oyo realized like their operation was like kind of like they were kind of taking similar strategy like the WeWork, right? So they changed. So I'm not sure about Oyo, but for Airbnb operators, I'm sure they won't go bankrupt, but they'll have some kind of impact because many like individual investors entered into Airbnb market, and they were renting room and operating them as Airbnb, and like so it was like subleasing, right? And since the demand went very low, they have to stop the service. And if they were kind of like if they're actually like buying the furnitures or like if they invested to reform the rooms, then they'll have very big impact for those individual investors.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think this is the answer?
Yeah. I want to make a sample of concrete answer of what kind of a Proptech that actually implemented in the real estate development. May, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yes, we know that the coronavirus will not disappear because the vaccine. I heard that the vaccine will come on only 1 year or next year from now. The first one is in June, as Americans experts say. So we have to think how to coexist live with them. Okay, just like we can live with influenza, flu, and other virus. So until vaccines can be found. So. Talking about people and temperature can help to fight the coronavirus. So it is my company, my startup company. I haven't told May. This is my startup company since for the last year. Infrared camera could be the new CCTV. So we must be able to have a camera that mobile, not mobile, but handy, but can trace the people's temperature. This is what the camera is like this. Could be standalone. And could be integrated network. So if integrated network, it will push the data and connect to the Wi-Fi. And from the dashboard, you can see which room which floor that you have people that whose temperature is not normal. So this is something like that. So camera linked to AI cloud platform, and then you can see from dashboard. Oh, this floor, we detect that some people's in this room is normal, is not normal, is his body heat. Real time monitoring. This is the thing that you have to invest when you have something like a new development or existing development, because we have to invest in services. If you don't do that way, you'll be abandoned. Your product will be abandoned by the customer. Because this is something like comply to anti-virus devices. So we can use in education, college, they can do what is it? Okay, measure temperature by dual thermal plus standard camera. So you can see, you can detect which students actually that have body heat is not normal. Screening students, you can count their head without any counting manually. Okay, so we can alert school management and automated real-time attendance tracking. So you can know you don't have to count how many people that attend your lecturer. Just let the dashboard will report to you and updating. This is all kind of it is all kind of residential vertical like hotel, co-living, co-working, office, and residential. So you can use this devices screen to guest hotel or maybe Airbnb, rental homes, co-workers, co-working space, and monitor and detect smoking also possible, like corridor, lift lobby, and staircase landings. Track, sense, and count occupancy rate features can be used for building cooling system management and energy. So he will report to you this floor, this room is already empty, so automatically the aircon will be shut down. So this is how that we have to prepare to address this kind of global health crisis issue. Okay, this is my my presentations on what kind of the features that Proptech could address to assist the property development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pat Rasmin. Do we have any other question now? Feel free to ask using the chat over there. If not, I personally also have a question coming from also, from a property developer point of view. So far we do see a lot of more of the, solution or available tech that's available for Proptech are mainly focused a lot on in terms of the sales, in terms of the marketing, right? But personally don't see much of, like more in terms of right now, COVID and construction site is very heavily on, still very into using manpower. And, that is the time where, everyone is crowded together and is also working on, during this period, if any of the projects are allowed to work after the lockdown, then what are the, things that need to change, or is there any solution available from a Proptech side that is available to solve certain problem for the construction site or the construction planning? Anyone?
Pardon me again?
Okay.
Construction
Leo,
tech,
okay, Leo.
I think construction tech is definitely under spotlight, especially during the last 2 to 3 years. I think the smart money went to especially construction tech. And for example, you can see Country Garden, one of the top 5 real estate developers in China. They announced that they started to investigate to develop and put money in the R&D on the robotics construction. And this is one of the very, very prominent example I can point out. That means I think the developers here in the region, I don't think they just wait. They start putting their money, putting their effort in developing construction-related technology. And also, I came across some big constructor or builder in Russia, Eastern Europe. They also look around for some technology or solution that can help to trace the productivity of labor. That means given now the situation, maybe we can't mobilize all the workers on the site to work out construction, but I strongly believe that technology can help to better monitor the productivity of the laborers, and that means maybe we can use lesser resources in order to be put on project management or put on the laborers. So I can say that that's the observations, and I strongly feel that the smart money are going there. Construction tech. Even in Hong Kong, the government, they put much, they emphasize the use of the modular construction technology in order to save the cost. Although, Hong Kong basically have the nice weather, we only have typhoon during the July and August, but basically we are also looking for some innovative construction ways in order to minimize the involvement, because the labors are so expensive.
Thank you. Any other question from the floor? Okay, so someone is have few questions. First one is to Daigo Sang. So, how are the real estate firms adopting Proptech comparing to other locations, such as comparing to the state or other European country? Maybe Daigo can address the question first.
Sure. Yeah. So the Proptech compared to other locations such as companies to the States or European, right? So yeah, Proptech in terms of technology, like I believe that the technology level between like Japan and those like US or European Proptech companies doesn't have much difference. However, like the funding amount, right? Like the venture capital funding amount is like way small compared to those countries and in Japan. So in the conclusion, like it seems like the Japanese Proptech companies are kind of like slow or not developed, but actually like they're very developed, and I believe it's very same. It's very similar in all other Asian countries. Yeah, but I believe the technology is very much same. Like business model, they have pretty much similar business models. Just the funding amount is the difference.
But how are the real estate firms like developers or any other developer property players adopting this Proptech?
Yeah.
In Japan?
So actually, they are kind of slow compared to other US or Europe countries. However, they're also like they started investing to startups. Actually, like some of them, they funded CVC, corporate venture capital, to invest in startups. And like, for example, construction company, let's say, yeah, so like sometimes they hold accelerator program, and so the startups joins accelerator, and when they exit, they like invest or either like use their product. So they're adapting to the Proptech services very much. Yeah.
Okay. So next question is to Joshua from MHub. So it's asking that your project sounds very ambitious. What do you think of landscape in real estate platforms?
Wow, it's challenging questions, Joshua.
Well, look, I think when you are a PropTech company or any tech company for that matter, you have to have big ambitions.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg also have big ambitions like you and me.
Yeah, so basically to answer your question, I think around the world, we are looking at a lot of different companies that we all perceive to be a platform as well, where many of those were more on property classifieds platform, right? Most countries would have their own property listing companies, local property listing companies. And what we are seeing in the trend here is where a lot of the advertising revenue has reached a plateau, right? So a lot of these companies are also looking at ways to further enhance their revenue top line. And many of them are actually looking at how property transaction can be digitalized in a more seamless way, right? And we are living in a very interesting times because now everyone has a mobile device, a connected smartphone, right? whereas it was only as recent as 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where that was never the case. And we are also seeing a generation, especially in Southeast Asia, where you're seeing a big proportion of the population never had a chance to play with computer or laptop, but their first encounter with connected mobile device is actually a mobile phone, because technology has become more affordable and people are becoming more connected, and therefore transactions can now occur online. You know, whereas before this, online was more for info searching. So definitely, I think there's a lot of potential in the platform business, and at the same time, you know, a platform is good because a lot of unicorns are actually platforms. If you look at the data, because they are able to connect different industries across different verticals to converge together to make communication and transaction easier.
Thank you. Okay, we still have some question. Still referring back to Daigo about just now. Do these Japanese firms that you mentioned, right? Do they prefer like tech development within their in-house, or is it they go for a third parties?
Right. This is a very good question. So formerly in-house, but recently they're starting to do open innovation. So formerly, it's okay. I can't name some of the companies, but some of the construction companies, they told us that they wanted to make the robots for construction sites, and they're trying to do in-house, and they will keep doing it for for decades, right? But recently they switched to like open innovation style, and they're actually like processing it like very well. And yeah, Japanese like corporates, enterprises, they are changing very fast, and they're getting very open to collaborating with other companies, like startups and also other foreign companies. So yeah, that's my answer.
Sato-san, I have one question.
Yeah.
We see that country like Taiwan, Japan, and Korea survive against this corona pandemic. Seoul already opened their city as business as usual last month, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I heard that Japan can survive because of a lot of city actually have implemented the smart city platform. Am I correct?
Well, I'm not sure like what kind of smart city platform like you're mentioning, but I believe yes, some of the smart city services are implemented.
Yeah, like in Korea and Taiwan, they survive because they're playing the big data. So they have precisely whose people coming in, whose people coming out, where are they now? They can easily lock them down particular area. So this is how they spot the virus.
I heard that the Chinese like smart city solution, they do have the app and track like
they can trace the people.
People, right? Yeah. Well, those kind of services are not used in Japan yet.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like people cares about like their privacy and all the things.
So in other way, we can see that how lag is our business community invest in technology, and until now we realize that after this pandemic, we are still in the invent stage, So we still need to invest a lot because we don't just need maybe a camera or maybe a robot or maybe a sensor to provide our services to the citizens in this global health crisis. We need more than that. We need more intelligent AI. We need more drone to control. Actually, a lot of development is already in a pace. But the thing is, the developer people like me don't care about that because they still can sell in a very, very conservative way. in Asia, I think it's the world, there's a drone, actually a drone plus virtual reality, where you can implement in a project, you can trace. Once your project is not in the place of the in the construction process, the report will tell you, hey, boss, your structure's not in the place. So you can easily still take some rescue process before it's completed. It's in the market since 2 years ago, but nobody cares about that. Am I correct, Leo? Leo was the one who's pushing in Asia. Leo, can you tell me about the mortgage that recently used the blockchains by Hong Kong, China Bank? I heard in Hong Kong.
Yeah, actually, the Bank of China, based in Hong Kong, they started to use blockchain for try to streamline the mortgage process. Especially, they focus on the property valuation part. That means that is exchanged between the property valuers, the mortgage applicants, and also the banks. So to me, I always say that I think blockchain is nothing magical. It's just an infrastructure that can provide a platform for a more safe and also more decentralized way to record the valuation report and also the mortgage application process. They're still doing that, but honestly, I think because it's only Bank of China is doing that, so it's a selfish version of blockchain so far. So, but blockchain can't be so selfish because a blockchain is supposed to better work with a consortium of players in order to better utilize the natures of blockchain. So so far I think it still takes time, but I can say that not only Bank of China, in Hong Kong, the New World Development, a very prominent developer, and also the Centerline, the largest real estate agency in Hong Kong, they also claim they start using blockchain in their property sale process. So I think it's a trend, definitely is a trend. Some may be just for window dressing, to make themselves looks good, right? To be innovative, given most of them are listed companies in Hong Kong, so they need some good news to make their stock price better. But when I talk to them, I think it's really positive because they really want to make use of blockchain, trying to lower the transaction cost in terms of property sale and also the mortgage application. Especially now, just like what I mentioned, during the hard time, Hong Kong, the mortgage banks, they need to consider whether they need to recall the loan. So blockchain provides a very good platform, infrastructure for them to review, the property valuation for their mortgaged properties. So it's good, yeah.
I think just to add a little bit.
When you're not allowed to travel, Joshua, okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yep. No, I just wanted to add a little bit to what Leo said, because you know how Leo was saying, like, yes, people are exploring and rolling out this new technology via blockchain that is supposed to be more efficient and time saving. But unfortunately, unless it's decentralized, where it becomes an open platform where people can actually tap onto the data points, then the technology in itself, fullest potential is not being utilized, right? And I think that's where I think it's so important for me to stress again the impact that a good platform can cause, because it is only an open, neutral and all-inclusive source of data sourcing, via a platform, right, where everyone in the industry could benefit, and it's not in a way siding against any specific party when it's an open, neutral platform. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Okay, we have one more question for Joshua. is asking that this MCO and pandemic has already impacted the global and local economy badly. So with the pay cut, business closure and etc. The full impact has yet to hit. As no one yet to know when the MCO going to be lifted. How do you see the local property market? Faring for the upcoming Q3 and Q4 of 2020, or to even next year, given all this market credit and employment issue, that is so uncertain.
Well, if I know the answer, I think I'll be in a different business already. I'll be in the future telling business. Well, look, it's a very relevant question, but the answer is still that nobody has a crystal ball. And I think a lot hinges on how soon the economy will start its recovery process, right? Like in China, we have seen like they have started opening up and the people are going back to what they used to do, but in a new normal way. So it really depends on how fast the world is able to resolve this whole issue pertaining COVID-19, right? But what I can be very certain is that once, like for example, we see hotels, shutting down their business, but the physical structure is still there, right? It wasn't torn down or damaged because of war. And that's what I meant when I believe that the rebound will be fast, right? And I think if you talk about demand and supply and property, I think it all goes back to the basic 101 of supply and demand. And if I may also add something, right? Isn't it interesting that, from this whole COVID-19 experience where many of us are actually working remotely or are staying home, for extended period of time, right? Is where we truly come to a realization that, across the world, people are still alive and they are only consuming what people truly need, right? What they truly need to stay alive. So in other words, property to me is definitely one of the basic essential needs of a human, right? Because people need shelter, roof over their head, right? So I think the question here would be if the supply is able to meet the demand's requirement, I am sure that we are still going to see a lot of property transaction taking place. And of course, on top of that, we are also seeing that people will be interested in good bargains. And by that, what I'm trying to say is the market will reach an equilibrium, and I do not believe that the market will actually be continuously slow. In fact, I was reading a news article about people doing online digital auction in Australia over the weekend that just concluded, and the property was going for auction. And again, in Australia, auction means the seller believes that they can get a better price. It's not a foreclosure, right? And they started at about 1.6 and 1.7 million thereabouts. Opportunity seeker came in about 1.4, 1.5, but eventually it transacted at 2.1. So in other words, right, if there's value in the property, people will still see value, and because of that, people will have the perception, or rather have the push to actually buy, because if I am in the position to buy, now is the best time. It's a buyer's market.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joshua, because I have property developer background like me. It's time to buy, especially the market will grow, but only for first-time home buyer. They will go because they need it. There's no point to stay there with your parents or the mother-in-law anymore. So they have an excuse to buy a new home. Correct, Joshua? So yes, it's right time to excuse to buy. So it cannot be packed in one apartment. So this year the first home buyer market will be growing, and then also the customer can enjoy a lot of good pricing and also a lot of futures, I think, in Proptech investment.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. If you imagine that when people are not allowed to travel and see each other, but their money cannot stop, just stop at the bank. They have to pay interest to someone, or they have to roll their money. So it must be a new way to invest and to run a business. So it just this 6 months is just something like a adjustment period of time, my opinion.
All right, great. Thank you so much for all the speakers for sharing. Before we end, we also, like to just one last question to all the speakers is that, do you think, how can we, yes, we all understand that COVID has pushed people to understand and to believe in the importance of technology, but how can we adopt, get companies, businesses, or property developers, or even agents, right, to adopt technology or Proptech into their business? So is that, some tips and points that you like to share? Maybe maybe we have maybe Joshua to share first.
I think in terms of adopting tech, especially for Asian businesses, right? I think we are seeing a convergence between the old mindset and the new mindset, all right? Because we have a lot of baby boomers who are still decision makers in a lot of family businesses in Asian countries. And I think through a situation like COVID-19, I think that's where it's so important for the next gen, okay, of family businesses to actually now offer new solutions that are actually workable to actually speed up that whole digital transformation of your respective organizations. There are many tech companies out there with a lot of good ideas. Some are proven, some might be unproven, but I think that's where things can be very exciting because technology has allowed us to really just speed up that whole transformation like never before.
Yeah, May.
Yeah.
We have a question from Facebook Live from
Okay.
Katarina Filipchuk from Ukraine. Leo, Katarina asked you the question to Leo. What kind of Proptech startup in Hong Kong have a strong interest from investors now? What would be the main focus in Proptech? The question to
Leo. Hong Kong investors are quite interested in looking into the co-living business in the past 6 months. The housing problem in Hong Kong is really quite a problem. So co-living is, to answer your question, I think co-living is definitely.
But co-living is one of the red zones investment now after this pandemic. Do you know how they will address this issue?
You mean sorry?
Because people now not staying off of living with.
Oh yeah.
How do we address this issue?
I think during this period, of course, it's not easy, to run that kind of business. But I think, yeah, the virus situation will go away, and I think the investors and also the players vigorously discussing about how to combine the work, live, play together. It's not only co-living, but they put more technology or even the elements of cultural elements in the co-living premises in order to make it what we call real estate as a service. So that's I think also the things I suggest the real estate companies, the firms, the investors, they should look at that. And also try to make it more responsive, even for the coronavirus situation that will definitely pass. But in the future, we need to understand more about the demand side of real estate. That means the millennials or even the younger generations, what they treat real estate. I think they want to put more, not only to buy or to own a real estate, but they use the real estate in some new ways.
Okay, we cannot hear you very clear, Leo. So
okay.
in fact, So you are telling us that this is too early to decide, is it right?
Yeah, because yeah, this kind of situation nobody talk about living, but that's the trend. Yeah, definitely that's the trend, especially in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. But actually, yesterday I checked with my friend from London. They are still selling 6 million euro property while she's still in lockdown. Surprisingly, so imagine that. Imagine that. This kind of trend will keep going.
Yeah,
So yeah,
notice,
it's lucky for real estate player like us compared to others portfolio like stocks in the market. They really crashed and at the bottom, property still survive. We are lucky. That's why I keep saying that for Indonesian market, Malaysian market, I think most Asian market, the first home buyers still keen to buy. It's just a term of pricing, and your product must be innovative plus. May you remember that? Okay, pass to you.
Yeah. All right. I think we have spent about 1 hour and a half together. So again, thank you so much for everyone spending the afternoon with us, and remember to follow again Innovatif Plus and FIABCI Asia Pacific. So we have more of the session upcoming. And if you have any other question, feel free to drop by our Facebook, and we'll try our best to answer further.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And we're gonna close.
Next series, we will ask Sato-san to present more in this slide in practical practice, like smart city. What is smart city in Tokyo?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We need something like a Proptech in the step of implementations.
Sure. Okay. We can do that.
Thank you.
Definitely.
All right, then. Thank you everyone for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Matane. Any question, just pass to me. We will reply you later if you have any questions to the speakers, and we will share the slide to you as well. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, we have to stay to take picture, me.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Let's take pictures.
We can do it now. Okay. Ready? Smile. 1, 2, 3. Right. Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Did you do the panel thing? Panel viewing style?
Yeah. I think this format will be more practical, but I think people will still keen for to see in Japan what kind of Proptech implementation is it. So maybe we can present what happened in Casinowa City.
Oh yeah.
Something.
We
like
actually
that.
have one more question. She's still here. If you wanna just go ahead and answer.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. It is saying that one of my concerns besides using Proptech, how does one cover the touch and feel, and see the potential prospect of purchaser, especially for the senior, right, who has been used to this way of buying property. Any of you guys want to?
Joshua,
I think I can answer that because it relates directly to property sales. So again, I think, like I've mentioned earlier, right, it's also a transition phase. It's also a clash scenario where we are going to see the new way of doing things growing, and then the old way of doing things are still in existence, but it's on a decline because the future consumer behavior and their expectations are very different from what maybe the older generation would expect, right? A simple example is the way we are treating air travel, for example, right? Like how we used to depend on a travel agent to actually do things, and then we still had to go to the airport to do a check-in. But presently, we can actually do everything within an app on our mobile phone, even to the point of printing our luggage tags as well as checking in. And we even have some airlines where even to enter the plane, they just use facial recognition for you to actually go inside the plane. So, so again, what I'm saying is, maybe now with technology, people can get more things done online. And then because it's property, it's high value, you might still need that human touch to actually bring the customer across the line. But a lot of things can be done over the phone, over, you know, video conference call like this. And also maybe it's only towards the last mile where they really want to meet in person just to formalize things, right? But you know, you talk about property transaction, the world is also evolving in terms of smart contract, right? And that's where blockchain will have a very important role to play as well. And as the whole market evolve, then it will be just like how in Southeast Asia, everyone is using Grab now, you know, or any e-hailing, right? Instead of calling their regular taxi driver that they used to call. Yeah.
I mean, just to add on as well, I think, you know, it has to have a coexist. Of course, now it's in lockdown, but in terms of the old way of still doing things, for example, yes, the rising of digital and all this thing, of course, for the next generation or upcoming consumer, will be most likely have, you know, doing most of that. The older generation, they take time to adjust to the new way of doing things. So, you know, like newspaper are still available, you know, so the option are still available, but it's just that it will be lesser required. Like for us, we will still attend the customer, going into the showrooms, you know, doing the sales face-to-face as one of the option for the older generation. But majority will be still going into, you know, online would prefer, right? Yeah.
But this pandemic will drive us, will push us very strongly. Then we have to speed up to use this tech. Yesterday, you know what I'm doing? I asked my parents not to touch the newspaper anymore because it's contagious maybe. So I just install the newspaper apps to his tab. I buy a new tab for him because it's bigger. Then he's using tab now. No more touching the newspaper. So this is going to trend to be, because the elders have to learn as well. But we must provide a good way, an easy way for them to go through.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are also a lot of stubborn older generations, right? So it's not as easy, but it's, you know, what slowly is become a must. You know, it's like a, you know, when they learn that the convenience, you know, they learn about, you know, the cost saving way, then slowly they will eventually adopt as well, right? So it's just about us to push it through. At the same time, we as the next gen, right, we have to convince and provide solution and suggestion to them. Yeah,
it's our job. We are in the Proptech ecosystem. It was our job to introduce, put a heavy campaign with Leo together with Sado-san, with Joshua together. We promote this because this is the right solution for after this Corona pandemic.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Totally agreed.
Yeah. So thank you again for dropping by. Yeah, and thanks for those still staying with us.
Yeah, thank you, Kate. I have a friend from Georgia. Georgia, I think it's midnight now there in Georgia. So I have Pak Suteja as well just now from Indonesia. Thank you for keep watching us. See you in the next series.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.